Now, I do want to talk about treatment. As I said, there is no single cause, so there's no one treatment that works for everyone. And in fact, depression sometimes, and this is why it's often very difficult to treat, is that it takes time. And it takes time with the person who is having problems being motivated at making changes. And it's often a combination of things. It's some lifestyle changes, it's some professional help often. You know, overcoming depression involves finding new things to enjoy, to learn about, to adapt, and to change, and also staying physically and socially active and feeling connected to other people. There's often a myth about seniors that, after a certain age, they can't learn anything new. I would like, and I think the pandemic has actually blown that out of the water, because one of the quickest and biggest adapters to new things being on Zoom, guess who that was? It was people over the age of 65. And I think that I've got a couple of my friends' parents who are in their 80s who have become avid gamers with their grandchildren. They would never have picked that up 18 months ago, 2 years ago, but now that's what they're doing, and it's opened a whole new world to them. So I don't want to, that whole saying, if you can't teach an old dog new tricks, that's a fallacy. You can learn, and you continue to learn as you get older. So I'm going to give you some sort of self-help. These things came from a number of resources, which are at the end. And they're just ideas, if you will. They talk about reaching out and staying connected, because we do know isolation is a huge predictor of, moving into depression. So, how do you stay connected, especially in a COVID world where you can't get out there? You can start getting out there a little bit now, but really putting yourself, you have to make the effort, whether it's to go sit in a park, to go, to get to the hairdresser, to go to and they're now talking about going to a museum here, which we can all start doing. They talk about volunteering your time. And again, maybe we can't do it person to person right now, but there are some volunteer opportunities that are online if you can get online. Reading with children, if you like that sort of thing. There are, I've got a couple of seniors in my building who have been pretty much housebound, but they all volunteered to do things for the election. And then when they realized they actually get paid, they were very excited. There are depression support groups out there. They talk about pets, and there's some interesting research about the efficacy of pet therapy for depression, particularly like equine therapy, which is very interesting to me, and also for anxiety. And anxiety and depression often are flip sides of each other. There's one down there that's they talk about taking the opportunity to laugh. And I don't know, if you've had a really good belly laugh, it can often lift you out of a really awful mood. I signed up for a course in laughter yoga, which I might say is the strangest and weirdest thing I've ever participated in. But my goodness, did I ever feel better at the end of it. Watching sometimes a funny movie, some comics, if you enjoy that. So laughing is also good medicine. We talk about finding purpose in one's life. So finding purpose in one's life can be done a whole bunch of different ways, and it bleeds into number one that we talked about. And one of the hardest things to do is to start focusing on the things you can do instead of the things you cannot do. And I've had some health challenges myself over the recent while, and I was getting really bummed out because I walk with a cane because I need a knee replacement. And I unfortunately had to have some surgery this summer, and my sister said to me, "Why don't you get a walker? That might help you recover from the surgery a bit better." Oh my goodness. It opened my world. I'm only 62, but I don't care. I'm getting a walker because that means I can get to the turtle pond at the Brickworks in Toronto. I haven't been able to do that because of my leg. So, I want to focus on, and I think we all, if we're able to focus on the things we can do rather than the things we can't do. Talks about learning a new skill, being involved in the community, taking pride in your appearance. I know during COVID, at the worst of times, I was not washing. Well, my hair looks nice now, but it was like down to my neck. I wasn't washing it, I wasn't combing it, I wasn't looking good. So it really gives you a boost when you're able, little things, put a pair of earrings on, have a shower, things like that. And I realize that this is difficult for people who are depressed, but one little thing can lead to bigger things. We talk about memoirs, writing memoirs. Some of us, reliving things in our past can bring us positive things. Sometimes they can be negative, but sometimes they can be positive. And spirituality, sort of whether it's meditating as we did today, or whether it's, the introduction that we had today, or whether it's praying or connecting yourself with whatever practices are important to you. So finding that spirituality. And this is a slide everybody groans at, number 3, when we talk about healthy habits. We talk about moving your body, eating for your mood. And in fact, I was just preparing for this, and Chatelaine, the Canadian magazine, had a whole article today about this month about a 2017 research study where they interviewed about 2,000 people about eating. This was not just for seniors, but about eating to improve your mood. And they talked about, these sort of things, focusing on proteins, quality complex carbohydrates, healthy fats, staying away from refined sugars, and things that will boost our energy, but then we have a crash afterwards. They talked about probiotic things and all sorts. So I would refer you, if you're interested, have a look at that Chatelaine article. It's based on efficacious research. Sleep, and we know seniors have a difficulty sleeping, but they're talking about 7 to 9 hours. And if you have to break it up, but you do need to sleep. Getting by with 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours of sleep, and that's it, is not going to cut it. Spending time in sunlight, and for those of us here in Canada, that's sometimes very hard to do, but they're saying 15 minutes a day, or buying one of those seasonal affective disorder light machines may help, because there is something about boosting our serotonin levels when you are in sunlight. And sadly, alcohol will be a depressant. While it might make you feel good at the moment, it might help you go to sleep. And if you're taking antidepressants, it makes things worse. And so a lot of research around alcohol and depression. And the last one I would say is making sure to know when you need to get professional help. Again, here's the catch-22 with medications, though. A lot of antidepressant medications have side effects and are vulnerable to interactions with other medications that people are taking. And the research seems to show that exercising, and I'm not talking about, running 100 miles, and I'm not talking about rigorous exercise, I'm just talking about taking a walk. The research has shown that actually increasing exercise can be as efficacious as antidepressants, but you need to have a talk with a professional around that. And then there's counseling and therapy, and there's all sorts of different types and models, whether it's supportive counseling through peer-to-peer or religious groups, or whether it's actual, therapy through a psychologist or a social worker or a doctor. Things like cognitive behavioral therapy, interpersonal therapy, problem-solve therapy, reminiscent therapy. All of these things have empirical evidence that they are helpful with depression, as well as support groups. There's some minor information that I have come across about ECT, which is the electric shock for clinical depression. And they are saying it as a last resort. And if nothing else has worked, this might be the thing. And there's a whole bunch of new research about LSD and things like that. I didn't cover any of that. I did see it in the literature, but it's not something I'm going to talk about here.